Alright guys, so I guess I'm gonna make this video for the wiring, which I've been kind of dreading, just because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of confusion. But basically, I'll come over here to this shit I tried to draw out for you guys. So what you have to do is you have to rewire some stuff on the distributor, and the ECU needs to have some wires added and moved around. So basically what I did here was I added 4 wires. I added B10, 12, B15, and B17. Now, when I did this, I basically wired everything on the ECU pinout plugs, see these here, to OBDO PM6 or PR4 Integra EF Civic spec. So when I plug that ECU in there, it reads it like this was an Integra chassis. Basically, I added those 4 wires, and I have them all ran down through here. They have the carpet here, so you can kind of see them. There's 4 wires, and B15 and B17 tied together. And those 4 wires, they run up here to the distributor plug. So this is a 7-pin plug right here. And it is basically wired like a DPFI to MPFI conversion, if you've ever done those on a Civic. And this is for your coil wiring. So on the coil wiring, I took the wires that plug into your external coil and I spliced them onto these. There's 2 wires, you can't mess it up. Now, what you do when you wire these plugs for the distributor is you've got 2 different types of plugs. You've got a 4-pin plug, which is for PJO. That's, you know, the 3G Accords, 2G Prelude, anything that came with the A series. And here you can see I have C1, 2, 3, and 4, which those are the pins in the ECU. And so I have them labeled here on where they go, 4, 6, 3, and 7. Well, that's the label for a 7-pin distributor plug. And you can see here where I have directed B10 to 2, B12 to 5, and B15 and B17 to 1, which is the igniter. And on this other diagram kind of thing I drew here, which even confuses me trying to look at it, I had, you know, labeled the colors of my wiring specifically, which this will be different for you. Essentially what you're wanting to look at is this right here. You want to find this 7-pin distributor connector diagram. There's a bunch of them on the internet, so you know, you're gonna have to look at yours. You're gonna have to do some research to figure out which orientation yours is, or you may or may not have to repin these on the distributor side of the plug. And then when you plug in the other end of this plug, the male into the female of the plug, all the wires coming out of the harness for the car, 4 of the wires are already there. And so if you look at this diagram again, you can see I labeled where the ones I added go. These other 4 here, that's where these go. And those are pretty much color coded, so at least they were for me. You can also see I said remove A6, A12 ties to A14. So at the ECU I removed A6, and I also did tie those together. Now, I don't remember if I had to move some stuff around. I think I did, but it was obviously a pain in the ass. I basically just used the pinout chart for PJO and then repinned everything to, as again I said, a PR4. Now when you come over here to the engine side, the engine harness, I used the A20 harness on this, so that was the factory harness for the 86 Prelude, and everything pretty much bolts up. You know, here's the ECU ground, which is in the same location as it was on the A series on the intake. I did make some jumpers, so this one's kind of buried in here. Let me see if I can get it out. So I made some jumpers where I basically cut the plug and wired in an adapter to, you know, like my idle air control valve here. So I have a plug that plugs into that, and it goes down here and it plugs into this. So I try to keep, you know, the wires, if they have connectors or plugs, I try to keep them that way. I did the same thing with this one for the mass airflow sensor. It plugs in through like a boom slang harness. I also did that with the TPS sensor here, which that one was actually just to lengthen it. All of that was also color coded. That was pretty much what it took to get the car to try to start, and I did have to delete my resistor box on this setup, and that's because of my injectors. I did relocate the battery, which that's some very, very basic wiring. Anyone could do it. All I did was ran a lead from the fuse box power to the starter, and then from the starter there's a battery power that goes into the car, you see here, and that's for your positive on the battery. The other end of that you just ground to the body here for the negative. That was pretty much it for the wiring. It was really simple. I mean, in my opinion, it wouldn't be worth paying someone else to do the wiring unless you really don't know how to do it. Other than that, everything was untouched. The dash harness is all original. The body harness is all original. The only thing that I had to adapt was the ECU plugs and pinout, and the little bits of the harness and stuff for this. Like I did change this sensor here. You can either change the plug or the sensor. It doesn't really matter which one, but this sensor is from the A series. That was pretty much it. I didn't really have to do anything else. So most of the wiring is at the distributor and the ECU. And that's pretty much it, man.